find out life's this game in inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Welcome into the Gibson Fantasy Football Podcast. Good old Al bringing us in on this fine Wednesday evening.
Hooah!
Hooah! Man himself. We are back for another round of the Risers and Fallers series to talk about everything that's happened after the crazy NFL draft.
Whew.
Here with you. So we've got Mr. Aaron, and myself, Josh. So if you're looking to find anything that we're up to, we got our website, GibsonFantasyFootball.com, Twitter, Gibson_FF, and then Gibson Fantasy Football on Instagram, YouTube, and Podbean. So, ready to talk about the quarterbacks in this crazy draft that we had there about a week and a half ago now, almost 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy how many people they get out to that draft. Jeez.
Oh my God.
What a
Vegas, man. Your Raiders, eh? The home of your Raiders. It was wild.
They did it up good. Ice Cube was there. You know, I was hoping the Raiders were going to draft him just as a special, I don't know, kicker for today or something. Water boy for today.
He's got the build of a football player. I'm sure he'd be fine.
Yeah.
He's probably played some football in his day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, let's jump in. So we're going to get the negative out of the way and finish with the positive. So our first quarterback faller is Mr. Lamar Jackson from the Baltimore Ravens. So he went into the draft with a fairly shallow wide receiver core, and they traded away Marquise Hollywood Brown to the Cardinals and pretty much drafted nobody.
Yeah. This is a bold strategy. We got to see how this plays out because
Right.
they're just going to make him do it with his legs there. So,
I mean, Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews, so rookie wide receiver from last year, Rashad Bateman, and tight end Mark Andrews are going to be the top two targets, but I think it's a sign that they're going to run the ball a lot this year.
yeah, and they're going to rely on Lamar just doing that a lot, just the QB run options, but
they went from I think it was 30th in passing plays 2 years ago to 15th last year. And I think that was because their whole running back room, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, all got hurt to start the season. So
that's right.
I think this is a shift back to being a run-first team.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
All right, so clearly not in a good spot here. A loser. His fantasy value might not take too much of a hit because he will rush the ball more, like you said, but he's got no options, man. It's going to be a lot of running in that offense.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, Mr. Ryan Tannehill from the Tennessee Titans. He also watched his star wide receiver, A.J. Brown, get traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. And then he did get rookie Treylon Burks drafted as his replacement, so that's something. But they also drafted Malik Willis in the 3rd round to be his backup and potential heir to the throne next year if things go well.
Yeah. Not a big Ryan Tannehill fan in the first place. But I think I've said that 100 times already before. But now without A.J. Brown, I don't know. It's hard to say if a guy's going to pan out or not at this early. They're just getting into camp, so we'll see what this Willis kid can do. And I don't know, but Tannehill, this could be a make or break season for him for sure. I mean, I think Tennessee's going to be looking for different options come next end of season. But
Yeah, it'll be like you said, it's going to be critical. He's coming into the last year of his contract next year, but he's still got like maybe not the last year, because he got an $18 million dead cap hit next year, which is a lot to cut him. But they do save $18 million if they were to trade him. So they'd probably be tempted to trade him at the end of this season if he doesn't do so well and Malik Willis is ready to go.
yeah, there's always a team that's willing to take those guys that are at the end of their career. Usually it's the Raiders. I hate to say it. just don't do a quarterback.
Sign Derek Carr, man. You got that big extension, so you wouldn't figure they're grabbing anybody now.
Don't have to worry about it then.
Yeah, it'd be somebody else, like the Giants or something.
The Lions.
The Lions. There you go. Jared Goff replacement.
I'm making a bold prediction that Tannehill is going to be a Detroit Lion in 2 years.
There you go. Okay. Let's see if it comes true, man. It just might. So we got, Tannehill takes a hit in his fantasy value, and especially in Dynasty because it's risky now. Robert Woods is injured to start the year. So, I mean, Treylon Burks is looking pretty good as a rookie. I think he'll have some good value and could be a, top 24 wide receiver right out of the gate. Yeah.
I think with a coach like Mike Vrabel, I feel like that's always going to be a defensive team. And so it will be interesting. I mean, they could still be a contending team if, some pieces work out for them on the offense, but I think their defense is going to be their strong point.
Yeah, and they ride Derrick Henry in the backfield, right? That's bread and butter.
Yeah.
Speaking of backfields, the Bears, Mr. Justin Fields. So, they rode David Montgomery, and then they got their young rookie quarterback last year, Justin Fields. They traded up to get him. The Bears went wild. The fans were excited. And they watched Allen Robinson leave in free agency to go to the Rams. And they drafted one guy, Velus Jones Jr., not a guy that was very high on people's radar. Now, literally, it was kind of funny because about 20 minutes before we started here, there was 2 news breaks that they signed Tajay Sharp, former wide receiver of the Titans, and then I don't even know where he was last year, to be honest. And then they also grabbed, he used to play for the 49ers. Another sort of no-name guy that hasn't done a lot for Terrell Owens. Yeah, no. So they added 2 really small pieces, but certainly not anything substantial. So I feel for Fields, man. Yeah, I don't know how he's going to succeed.
You wonder what some of these GMs, I don't know, maybe they want to be that GM that says, hey, everybody gave up on this kid or nobody gave this kid a time and I'm that guy that did it. And, I don't know because it doesn't seem like I don't know who this Jones guy is. I don't know what school he kind of came out of.
I was pretty high, pretty involved in all the rookies, and I barely knew who the heck he was. I hadn't heard of him. So the guy was Dante Pettis, the receiver that they signed.
Dante Pettis.
Yeah,
I remember hearing about him.
But got a little music in the background there.
Yeah.
So Fields, I mean, we'll see what happens here, but he takes a huge hit, and you got to think that he's going to be replaced if he doesn't succeed this year. They're going to have a high draft pick next year, and this management is not the regime that drafted him. So we'll have to see what happens there.
There we go.
Okay. Last but not least, don't forget about
Mitchell.
Mr. Mitch Trubisky of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, I mean, on one hand, they did add 2 wide receivers, George Pickens and Calvin Austin III. But the problem is that they drafted Kenny Pickett with the 20th overall pick to compete with him this season and definitely take over next season, if not partway through this year.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Sometimes plans don't really work out, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what Pickett is like this year, and how that works out, and whether or not they can make something happen. But I mean, not good long-term value for Mitch Trubisky here.
No.
And he might not make it as the starter, even into week 1.
Yeah, there's guys that I think it's Wilbon just likes Trubisky, really likes him. Said he would have taken him over I forget who he said he would have taken him over. Somebody, one of the starting quarterbacks. And I don't know. I'm hoping. I got my fingers crossed that he actually does well in Pittsburgh and has a good season.
He might. He really might. I mean, he did pretty well with the Bears, and then management and the coaching staff just destroyed that team. So
yeah.
Look what's happening to Fields, right? All right, let's switch gears. Let's get into the folks who are risers and who had something positive happen. And the first one we sort of alluded to, got to go with Jalen Hurts here, Philadelphia Eagles. You get A.J. Brown, and I mean, holy geez, man. His stock has gone to the moon.
Yeah. I think he's already, a quarterback that's been on the rise, and just adding an elite wide receiver to your team. That's going to be a dangerous Philadelphia team.
Yeah. Hurts was already looking like he had some potential. They didn't draft him very high, so he's got a pretty easy contract to just cut him or keep him as a backup if he doesn't do well. But it's really going to be hard for him not to succeed now with Devonta Smith, the rookie from last year, A.J. Brown, and Dallas Goedert. So huge winner for fantasy and real life. Jalen Hurts does hurt the stock of Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert for fantasy because they're going to have to compete for targets. But Jalen Hurts going to be living life and loving it.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. 100%. Yeah.
All right, another rookie from last year who had his team do the opposite of what the Bears did, Zach Wilson of the New York Jets. So he came in with that draft class, and they said, you know what? Let's give our rookie a shot. And so they went out and they grabbed Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, and then drafted Breece Hall, the running back, who's arguably the best running back in the class. Seems pretty clear cut. So 2 really good options. They added some depth at tight end and Conklin and Uzama. They brought them over in the offseason. So they've really been surrounding them with weapons. Looking pretty promising here. What are your thoughts on Wilson?
Yeah, the Wilson connection. It's going to happen.
There you go.
What can you say? The Jets, I mean, they've been at the bottom of the barrel for how long? I mean, it's got to turn around eventually. Is Zach Wilson going to be the guy to do it? Who knows? They're relying heavily on their draft picks and rookies and guys like that. And I don't know. Jets. Let's hope that they. If you're a Bills fan, you could give two. You know what's about them, but I don't know.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Makes that division pretty interesting too, because the Dolphins went out and got Tyreek Hill. The Patriots looked okay last year with Mac Jones. The Bills are obviously the division champs, so that's going to be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, they're playing in a heavy AFC division. Just not their conference. Obviously, their conference is pretty tough. To New England, Buffalo, Miami, but just playing in the AFC alone. Is going to be really interesting. And you got to cheer. Like sometimes these are the teams that you cheer for, right? Like the young kids that just go out there and shock everybody. So let's, I got nothing against the Jets. If I cheer for one of the 2 New York teams, it's going to be the Jets.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah. So Zach Wilson on the rise then, and we'll see. I mean, I think he could be a top 15 fantasy quarterback this season. He'll have probably some spike weeks, and he did have a little bit of rushing upside. So we'll see how that works out for him. The man who's trying to revive his career, Mr. Jameis Winston of the New Orleans Saints. He had a decent season last year before he got hurt. And 2 good things happened. One is that the Saints went out and grabbed Chris Olave, wide receiver in the first round there, and they did not draft a quarterback. So they said, Jameis, we're all in. It's your rodeo. Let's see what you can do.
He's had some brilliant moments, in the NFL, and He's the kind of guy that him and Teddy Bridgewater are two guys that I really cheer for. Guys that just have gotten injuries, but have shown some big promises. When they play healthy, and so yeah, I'm hoping that he can. These wide receivers that he's playing with are going to be capable, and he's going to stay healthy. I think is the most important part.
Yeah, he's got Michael Thomas supposedly coming back healthy. I mean, we'll see. We haven't seen him in 2 full years, thanks to
Oof.
injury and kind of drama in the offseason there. And now he's got Chris Olave. He's got Alvin Kamara out of the backfield pending legal issues. So Jameis looks like he's set up to be, a nice, again, sort of top 20, maybe top 15 quarterback, and capable of running that offense with Kamara and Thomas and Olave. All of whom look like pretty good fantasy options.
And yeah, Winston too is kind of that quarterback that if your quarterback gets injured or is on a bye week, depending on who they're playing, could be one of those guys that you kind of pick up and have as your maybe not second quarterback, but third or fourth,
Yeah.
Starting.
Yeah.
I think, in tight moments,
I think he'd be a decent QB too. I think you hit the nail on the head there. He's good backup in a single quarterback league or a second quarterback in Superflex.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least, Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals. So again, just the opposite of the Faller situation. Lamar loses Hollywood Brown, Kyler Murray gets him. So, Kyler Murray needed something. They had DeAndre Hopkins, who's going to miss 6 games with a suspension. So we'll cover that in the wide receiver section. But so we're going to be missing Hopkins. AJ Green comes back. Rondale Moore's unproven. So they needed something after losing Christian Kirk, and looks like Marquise Hollywood Brown's going to be the guy, and that boosts Murray's stock because things were looking a little dicey there.
I will say this: Marquise Brown came up huge for me a few times in fantasy. I believe I don't think I finished with him. I could have finished with him. I know I had him like a couple weeks where he just went off for some big points. And there may have even been that one week where I left him on the bench and he got a good amount of points. So, you know what? I think Kyler Murray's a better throwing quarterback than Lamar Jackson. That's just my opinion. I think I look for some opportunities there. That could be a sleeper, kind of guy, Marquise Brown. That, obviously he's probably going to be taken in any fantasy, but it's not going to be the first round or, first few rounds. He's not going to go, right? But I think it's definitely a guy that could be a sleeper for sure. Nice guy to have on your bench and every now and then just sprinkle him in there.
Yeah, I think while Hopkins out in that first 6 games, he has a lot of upside, and then he drops off from there to be in that wide receiver 2, maybe wide receiver 3 kind of category. So
yeah,
we'll see what he can do and what kind of connection. Him and Murray are college teammates, they're friends, so they wanted to get together and play together, and they made it happen. It's like the NBA, man. NFL players are controlling their own destiny now and reuniting.
What are they, Oklahoma or Texas Tech? It's Oklahoma, right?
I think so.
Oklahoma,
yeah. I don't think they played for the whole time. I think they just overlapped for a year or so.
Right.
All right. Those are the risers and the fallers. I threw this in just as a reminder in terms of quarterbacks. We still got Baker Mayfield and Jimmy Garoppolo and their names floating out there. So I'm not sure. Everybody and their brother is saying Trey Lance is going to be the starter for the 49ers come week 1, but unless they can trade Jimmy away for something, I don't know if they're going to make him the backup, paying that much money when he's got all that proven success. So,
yeah, that's a tough one for him. Baker though is. That's just a crappy position. I think
nobody wants his contract, and the Browns don't want to give him up for free.
He would have been better, I think, to just stay silent during this. And I think, I don't know, he may have rubbed some people the wrong way with Just the way that he came out and talked about it. It wasn't like he did anything that bad, but you just get a response from a lot of old NFL players or ex-NFL players or even current NFL players that kind of disagreed with how he handled that. So
Yeah.
I think Cleveland's not in any rush to get rid of him unless something comes up, that is going to benefit them. But they're not.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I think, the only thing I think is that it could be awkward in the locker room. That's the only.
Yeah. Well, geez, I mean, what if you're a guy with like 4 daughters? I mean, sitting there and Deshaun Watson's there. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. And we still don't know how many games he's going to get suspended for. I mean, it's most likely he will get suspended. I think he will, but yeah.
Yeah. Now, how many, when, what that's going to look like, if more stuff's going to come out. There's too many question marks on that one, and we don't have that kind of expertise. But
yeah, like at least Jimmy's been kind of quiet. At least I think he has. I could be completely wrong. I mean,
yeah, the rumors are that it's the shoulder is the reason why he hasn't been traded.
Right.
People are just nervous about the shoulder and wanting to see him get to full health before they're willing to trade for him.
Well, maybe he'll be one of those guys that's, mid-season. You never really see it too much in the NFL, like a big trade mid-season, especially for a quarterback. Usually quarterbacks are in the off-season, but, maybe there's a team that the quarterback goes down. Last year, how many quarterbacks went down and guys were kind of
could be training camp or one of the rookies doesn't pan out and they say, you know what, we'll just grab Jimmy G then.
Yeah, so it could be, a little bit later into the start of the preseason, we'll see him maybe get moved.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think any team just wants to get rid of these guys and get nothing back for them too, right?
Exactly.
And that's the biggest thing of all these teams, and two, all the money.
The contract, and they're right, they want something for them. All right, well, that's the quarterbacks, risers and fallers. We'll be back probably next week we'll jump into the tight end position, which will be interesting. There was a lot of tight ends drafted, but lower draft capital, so we'll see what kind of impact that had. In the meantime, you can find us at the GibsonFantasyFootball.com, Gibson_FF on Twitter, or Gibson Fantasy Football on Instagram, YouTube, and Podbean. If there's a quarterback we didn't talk about today, that's probably because they were in more of the neutral category, but come find us. And
Did we talk about Derek Carr?
No. We've already talked about Derek Carr now.
Yeah.
But yeah, come find us. Ask us about Derek Carr. Aaron will love that. Ask us about anyone else or anything else that's on your mind, and we'll be happy to interact and answer some questions. Please like and subscribe the video and leave us any comments below. All right. Anything else before we call it a day? We're good.
No. Watch football.
Right. Well, go Broncos, and until next time, clear eyes, full heart.